Well, that's not a racetrack. It's not a racetrack.
It's a race car.
No, don't insult me like that. Don't, Clifford. He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it. So yeah, as you guys can tell, we are back here at DSP. This is not a racetrack. No racing this weekend because we are here to try out a few things to see if we can get Clifford a little bit faster. At DSP getting on the rollers. This thing has just not quite made the power that we wanted it to make. It's making good power, just not good enough. And so DSP, they've got a little something. I don't want to tell you what it is. I don't want to tell you what it is, but got a little something for us to try out and see. To see if, I don't want to tell you what it is, can go on there and pick up a little bit more power versus what we've got. And if so, maybe we might just come out of here with it. If not, we know that we got some more investigating to do because all the parts and pieces that we have on paper say that they should make drastically more power than what we're doing. And so we're going to try to take those pieces one by one and dissect a few of them to see if we can rule out what may be the bottleneck in Clifford's power. So ain't nothing to it but to do it. Let's get this thing apart and making some rips.
Help me with the gasket. I got the turbo, you got the gasket.
Big meat Lara Hoovas, but y'all haven't heard that one yet. So if you're wondering what the difference is, why this doesn't look like Ryan's dyno at Hardway, it's because this is a hub dyno. This actually takes and literally bolts these hubs onto my hubs and you spin them that way. So this is a hub horsepower rating. It is not technically a wheel horsepower rating. There are kind of some advantages to either, but the biggest advantage to these is that you have no traction problem. So a lot of really high horsepower cars, not mine, but a lot of really high horsepower cars will actually spin on the dyno. So with one of these, you're actually able to eliminate that completely and do the entire run, like start to finish. Like you could put it on the trans brake, let off, and run through an entire pass with as much load on these as you want. No issues, no worries. It's not going anywhere. So kind of a pro to this here on the Dynocom at DSP. But Austin's getting finished up with the freshie up there. Can't tell you what it is, but he's working on that. It's almost dyno time. Ooh. So that was 16 pounds.
Yeah.
So
how far do we pull that one out to?
RPM wise?
Yeah.
71.
71?
It's about where we want to stop at. As soon as I see 7 on the dash.
Yeah. Well, let's hit the up button and go again.
Alrighty.
All right, I gotta get over here in the safety zone. I gotta stand behind somebody. glasses on. $839 and 670. So that's 70 wheel, right?
Yeah, no,
40 plus 30,
yeah.
70 wheel. Sit down for a second. And he's already calling me over here. Can't take no break. Can't take no breaks around this feller.
Woo. Sometimes you just gotta get in there with it.
Yeah, you just gotta live amongst them.
That loop out man was that.
Sounds wonderful, doesn't
Sounds like it made about 840 wheel.
it? Does not sound like that when you're beside it.
Uh-uh.
It must have good product.
That green is like,
It's not my kind of
Woo.
green, though.
That's that booger green.
Yeah, that's
it's like blinding my camera.
that's COVID green.
Yeah.
I literally physically saw fuel coming out of this injector.
Really?
Swear to God.
Wow.
Like the boost was blowing it out right here.
Holy shit.
Do you guys think we found it?
Wow,
Tell me what it was
it
doing.
went
All the fuel?
at least on number 3 and 5.
Okay, so you cannot make power if you don't have fuel in the hole. And when we try to make power, our fuel is leaving the hole. Holy cow.
It's a bunch of fuel.
So after some very, very serious science and investigative forensic research via cell phone analysis of GoPro footage, let me just use Shay's truck here to show you what we found. First of all, this thing's a beaut. This is beautiful. But if you noticed in the video, we have copious amounts of fuel blowing out of the injector area. Our first instinct is to say, oh no, the O-rings are bad. It's blowing fuel that the injector is trying to put in the hole out of the hole. Well, yeah, there's definitely an O-ring issue. But as we look closer, and I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, I'm gonna put the video on right now and keep talking about it. But as you guys can see on the side of the injector right here, there's like a high water mark of dry gray line. That gray line is the lead. The C16 that I run is a leaded fuel. So if you see gray residue anywhere, that's the lead that's left over as the fuel evaporated. But anyway, on the side of this injector, there's freaking gray crap all over it, telling me that fuel is leaking out of the side of the injector and not just the O-ring. So what we are thinking, I'm gonna try to wrap this up, I ramble, it's terrible, is that fuel is coming out from the side of the injector where the cap meets the body itself and is puddling on top of the O-ring. It's puddling on top, and then boost is coming by it to make the blown explosion of fuel. That's why we're seeing it come out of there, because we're like, there's no way it's blowing injected fuel back outwards out of the cylinder. That doesn't make sense. The motor wouldn't run, it would burn up, it'd be lean, blah, 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 blah. It would have all these problems, that the tune would be all jacked. But if it's leaking around the body of the injector itself, and then only boost leaking past the O-rings, that's why it's blowing the puddles out. That's why it's crappy. It's a boost leak, it's in a fuel leak, it's a fire hazard, it's probably contributing to the misfires that we have at high boost. That's what's going on. And Shay's truck is not doing any of that, by the way. Austin's hard at work taking our experimental turbo off, because I don't think ours is to blame. We came here in kind of the anticipation that we'd put this bad mamma jamma on right here. We'd put that guy on there, and this thing would just sing its song. It'd just make 15 bajillion llama kicks or whatever, and we'd be out of here. But we're kind of back to square one, and it's kind of doing a similar story as to what my original one's doing, my original Force Performance 88. So a bigger, nicer, way more expensive turbo wasn't the answer here, and I'm glad that we had this opportunity with DSP to come up here and run it on the dyno all day long, troubleshoot these issues with nice parts to kind of to justify, to square up and say, no, the parts that I have are good, the stuff that I've gotten is good, there's got to be an issue elsewhere. And it has been a really, really good day of troubleshooting. So you're telling me right now we found major problems with my truck, like the injectors is aching, and with a little help we did what now?
Dyno record.
The dyno record here.
He is our record setter at the time.
Oh my goodness, look at that. I don't know if you guys thought that you could set a record, but you couldn't, because I did. Dang, that's cool. Anyway, we found that out right before we were leaving, but as always, I'm Diggin C71. Thanks for watching. Keep digging. We'll see you next time.